Hi guys, this is just, well, a kind of a short video compared to my last one. I wanted to highlight something that most people don't really think about. I've only just been aware of it myself. It's an easy mistake to make if you're a bird keeper, or in fact any kind of pet keeper. Now, I live in a council flat. I quite like my flat. I'm quite proud of the fact that I live in a flat. Um, It does need a little bit of work. The council have been, I've got to say, the council have been working quite hard with this building, even though it's quite a, it's quite an effort with this building because it's a lot. There's been a lot wrong with it over a period of years because it's becoming quite old, and we do have a problem in here with dampness. And I will quickly show you. I want to get this out of the way with quickly. You can see the walls up in the corner, and it's all the way down to the bottom there. I've been waiting to decorate, but I can't decorate because as soon as you decorate, all the mold comes back. And I'll just show you quickly above my door. I mean, see, it's really black, and it's not. It's all on the door as well. It's that door. The inspector said yesterday, Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday when he came out? And he said, really, it should be UPVC doors there. They're old doors that we got there, and it does. They've just done the window, so I've got to give them some credit. I'm really happy that they have done that because I was the only one who actually got them. The three surrounding flats also have the mould, so I know it's not the birds. Anyway, on Friday that's just gone, it's actually the 30th of May 2018 today. I come home from college and I discovered there was a note put through the door, actually a card, and it was from City Council. I just wanted to block the phone number up because I don't want people phoning them, and I know what some people are like. They can phone up and start moaning, but they're just doing their job, really. And I'm kind of glad, in a way, that someone did, because I was reported by an inspector that came out. He's come out several times, and I suspected, on his last visit, I suspected something went wrong because he didn't really pay much attention to his job, should I say, but it was more, I noticed he kept looking at the cage. And when he came round, the cage itself was a bit dirty because I've been waiting to pick up the floor, not the floor itself, but the floor material. Now, the material that I had in there before was a product called Easy Bed. Easy Bed is made from pine, and when it's fresh, it smells nice. But it's only for a few days. But this stuff had been in there for quite a while, about a week and a half. I'd say maybe a little bit more than that. And the trouble is, when you first got it in there, like I say, first couple of days it smells really nice, all fresh and pine. And all of a sudden, after a few days, it starts to smell a bit pungent, and then that lovely smell of pine disappears, and you end up with a kind of a stale, sort of mouldy, sort of damp sort of smell, and it's not very pleasant at all. But I had to buy that because this stuff that I really wanted. This is the Easy Bed that I had in there was the cheapest sort of stuff, and that was all they had at the time. So I had to buy that while I waited for this product to come through, which is Orbozy or Oribose or something like. I can't never pronounce it. Now the stuff that I've got in there now, which is what I usually use, is made from kiln dried hemp, and there's no smell whatsoever. And that's what the stuff I usually use. And I've had to use Easy Bed a few times, so I only use it at desperate moments because I don't want bare floors in there. So it's nice to soak up any kind of droppings and moisture or anything like that. Right. After speaking to my neighbour, apparently when we had some builders a little while back, they was fitting a new kitchen and bathroom. And when they fitted the new kitchen and bathroom, during the process, they had nowhere to store all the kitchen cabinets and everything because it was, I believe it was like towards the end of the day when everything turned up, and it was on a Friday. So I said, well, me being me, I'm quite generous and quite helpful as I can. So I said, look, I'll try my best. I said, I only live in a small flat, as you can see, so I'll try and make some room in my front room for you so they could store all of the cabinets in here. They stored all the cabinets in here, and it was a bit of a tight jam. and I couldn't get to the aviaries very well to clean them and etc. So I mean, it's not an excuse. It's just actually fact. And no, I haven't cleaned all the aviaries up and everything at the moment for the camera or for the guy that is about to come round. This is how it always is. Anybody that knows me, anybody watching this video, usually people that already know my videos anyway, you can see from previous videos the quality and the upkeep of my aviaries, that they are immaculate. So as you know, I was told anyway by my next door neighbour that the inspector before complained, we mentioned something to my next door neighbour, and saying that it was smelly in here and I was overcrowded. There was way too many birds. Now I'm telling you now, the birds that I have here now is what I always have. Most of them are rescue birds, or they're quite old. Nobody really wants them because they're too old, or there's something wrong with their foot, or they're not very good flyers, etc. And if you don't believe that, I can show you some of the birds. Which one is it? The one which is right there, she's got a funny foot. She was born that way, and quite often she falls off her perch. That's why she's in a low cage, so she does fall. She doesn't hurt herself. It's not very far to drop. So I don't want to palm them off with anyone else. I don't want someone else to have them, because they're very happy here. They're very happy as a family. There's no bickering. They're very, very quiet. None of my neighbours have ever complained. In fact, sometimes they come round to enjoy them. All of my neighbours, they're quite happy to see them. You know, there's never a problem at all. All of their drinkers, their baths, their drinkers, their food dishes, everything is cleaned every single day. It's scrubbed with hot soapy water. Sometimes it's bleached out or Verconest. They have heat lights in there which come on when it gets too cold, so that they can they've all got cages top and bottom. I mean, it's a 6 foot long cage and it's 4 foot wide. The legal requirement for this is maximum of 16 birds in each, because it's 4 foot by 6 foot. You can't have any more than that by law. I mean, you could put more in there, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't, even if the law said you could, I wouldn't. And in here at the moment, there's about 9 birds in here, 8 or 9. There's not really many at all. So let's have a look. I mean, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can see 7 birds, maybe 8. Where everyone is. Oh yeah, 8, 9. There's 9 birds in there. So that's definitely not overcrowded. I mean, I could put 7 more in there, but I don't need to. And down here, there's probably about 10 or 11 birds in there. So maybe possibly 12. I think there's about 11. So that's not overcrowded neither. See, they're not flapping around. They're like this all the time. They all just sit there and sing their heads off. There's no bickering. They're quite happy. They've got adequate lighting, proper lighting. I wanted to cover this for a particular reason. They've got rooster perches. People call them anti-stress perches. Doesn't matter what you call them. I have got a bunch more of them up in the loft, but I've chosen really at the moment not to put them in there, because I I need to do a little bit of rearranging in the bottom one. So, and I may put some more up in this one a bit later. This is another cage I've got here. The top one, the birds are out at the moment. They're just free flying. By law, if you keep birds in a cage, I believe that you are required to let them out periodically to have a free fly, to exercise their wings, and it's good for their mental stimulation. And no, they don't live outside the cage, and you don't have to chase them. They go back in on their own. That's just one pair in there. He's a hand-reared one. He's a fantastic little bird. BBs. He's so friendly. And I couldn't imagine anybody else taking him away. I just couldn't imagine anyone. He wouldn't be happy. He just, if someone else comes through the door, he doesn't like them. He's very funny little bird. I've got a pair down the bottom here. Now, they're quite happy. They're all right. They've got a nest in there, but they're actually got plastic eggs in there. So they're 2 females. And rather than just keep laying eggs or unnecessary, because they are quite broody and I don't really want them to breed, so I just put plastic eggs in there, so it stops them from laying more. And yes, they got their light. This one hasn't got a light fitted at the moment because, well, the bulb blew, so I've made a hole in the side and put a mesh on it so that it's right next to the window so they can see out. Everything's on a timer. The lights are all on a timer. Because timers are renowned for failing and can be a fire hazard, I spent quite a bit of money on a power star. So what this does, this unit, if there's any kind of power surge or if it detects anything wrong in the circuit, it just shuts everything off completely, dead. So there's no fires, no nothing. It's health and safety. So it's health and safety first. It's not so much, I know it sounds stupid, but I'm not really worried about my own health and safety. It's the health and safety of the birds and the neighbours, of course. I don't want the bird in the flat down, and I definitely don't want to kill my birdies, my little friends. So as you can see, they're quite happy. There's no problems in here at all. And I was accused that the flat may have been dirty or something like that. So I wanted to show you a full version of my flat. As you can see, it's quite clean, apart from my toolbox out at the moment, because I have been doing some other work, DIY work. So, I mean, it's very clean. I think it's very, I mean, I've had loads of people going in. It does need decorating, but like I said, I can't decorate at the moment because it's just thrown away money. It's that mould. It grows all the way along from one end to the other. It grows all the way down there and all the way down to the bottom. It's just everywhere, and below the windows. So there are 2 new windows that's been fitted. Will you be quite noisy? And yeah, now they're singing. I've kind of forgot what I was going to say. But the mould is something that can be treated, I believe anyway. They're quite, like I say, it's an old building. It's nobody's fault. It's not even the council's fault really. It's just the way it is. It's just, you know, it's an old building and you'll get that anyway. So yeah. But anyway, that's my aviary. It's a 6-foot aviary. It's 6 foot high. It's been like cut across. So because the birds don't really need so much height. It's, you know, what I've done is I've got the females at the bottom and the males on the top. That's to stop them from breeding. There's no other reason for it. I mean, it's not because I want more birds at all. It's just to separate them and stop them from breeding at the wrong time of year. And when they're molting, as they are at the moment, they need their relaxation to keep them calm and to keep their minds off of breeding so that they look good. They're almost finished anyway. They're molting. I say it's I know this guy did report me. Because I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I think he was doing the right thing in a way. Because like, if I went to someone's house and there was birds or something there, and I felt that they weren't being looked after, I'd probably complain as well. So, you know, I kind of pat him on the back for that. Because if I went to someone's house and see that, the chances are that person may not be looking after them, and their well-being is very important. But I do know with the city council, or even any kind of landlord, really, it's not just the council; it's all landlords. I think their main duty is mainly to make sure that the place is clean, spotless. There's no excess poo. That's one of the laws anyway. Make sure there's no excess poo because of the health, your own health. And not only that, is neighbouring as well. You've got to make sure there's no fleas and mites, etc., that are going to travel the building. And I know there's no mites in here at all. There's no bugs at all. There's never really been anything like that. The other thing is make sure they're not mounted onto the walls and stuff like that and pulling at the building, which mine is not. They're all freestanding, as you can see. Where's my hand? So like this is a good 4-inch gap there. It's all freestanding. Nothing's attached to the building at all. I can move them around quite happily. Same as they get cages there. They're just on a small table. The other ones is that they're not a nuisance to anybody else, to the community, like they got out or something, that they're going to terrorise anybody else, or you know, they're not noisy, etc. And like I say, my neighbours are quite good. They don't even hear them, to be honest. But the Gordians is going to be pretty impossible to hear anyway because they're very quiet. They're completely opposite to the shaft owl, but the shaft owls they're generally quite good birds anyway. They don't mind. I think I'm going to lock them in now they're in there. So they've had their free time. Hey girl, don't worry. Hey girl. See, you don't have to chase them in. Don't have to chase them until they just go in on their own. Hey BBs. They're fantastic little birds. So yeah. There are other couple of things as well I can't think of. Oh yeah, make sure when you if you're private or with your council, check your tenant agreement. When you first sign up and get your property and you move in, have a look at your not so much rent, it's the tenancy agreement. Make sure you're not breaching that. I mean, I've gone through my tenant agreement and I didn't see anything saying that I even had to mention it to them that I've got birds, because there was just nothing there. The only thing it did say about birds that I found, you're not allowed to have wild birds, obviously. If you do, you need permission, and they'd have to be closed ringed or something like that. And it's usually under special circumstances. They're quite tough on that, which I'm glad, because I don't think people should keep wild birds anyway, not even ringed ones. Another thing is you're not allowed to have bird of prey in a flat or private housing. I don't think you're not supposed to have bird of prey at all. So another thing is about birds I did see is concerning an aviary. You need permission if you're going to erect an aviary outside. It doesn't mention inside, it does mention outside. I suppose they could debate having a cage or an aviary indoors. I mean, it's not mentioned in there, but like I say, I think a lot of people, like some people said to me, the council could be very, very funny. Yeah, they can be funny. Like I say, they're only worried about, like I said, it's just making sure you're not damaging the building, making sure you're not upsetting the neighbours, and they're concerned about the health of the birds. Making sure that their well-being is considered highly. Because those birds, they can't go out shopping for themselves. They can't get anything. They rely solely on you. Everything in their life, relied upon on you. And I think the council understand that, and I think most landlords would understand that and respect that as well. But my personal opinion on keeping birds, I think there should be a license. I know people are going to want to claw my eyes out for saying it, but I do. I think there should be a license. It should be periodically checked by like a company. I don't know so much about the RSPCA. I think it should be more something like the RSPB when it comes to birds. RSPCA, I don't know, with them it's a little touch and go. I mean, I don't despise them. I know that what I don't like about them is their kill rate, and they're more of a profiteering sort of organisation, whereas the RSPB, they're more bird loving, and they're more dedicated to the birds. Now, I am a professional. I will say, I mean, if I say anything less, the people that know me will know I'm lying. But I am a professional when it comes to birds. I've been keeping birds here for over 20 years, and I can tell you now that they need specialist care. All birds, even if it's a zebra finch, they need proper looking after. Most people just buy a bird and put them in a budgie cage, and that's not good enough. And you can't just give birds seed and water, as you can see in their dishes. As you can see some of my other videos on this YouTube channel. The diets that I give them is actually astronomical. I spend a fortune on these birds, but I only do that with the offspring. I have to sell or swap the offspring for food, so I can actually keep these ones going, because they are very expensive. Mine get I get proper vet care with mine. I mean, I study quite a lot of avian stuff, poopology, as most of you already know. That I do use a microscope very regularly, and I always check my birds for poo samples and many other things, crop washes, to make sure that the birds are constantly healthy, make sure there's nothing lurking in my flock. There's no profiteering here at all. There's no money making scheme. There's no I don't know anybody that makes money off of birds, to be honest. There's always a loss. I could breed 50 babies or something and sell them, and I'd still lose money, because you've got to feed the babies, you've got to give them care, and it's just so much. Plus the electric and all the utilities and all the vegetables that I give mine and I spend a lot of money on vegetables every day. So it's not just that; it's just so many things. Plus there are vitamin drops that go in their water, new light bulbs, and those light bulbs that I buy, like these ones that I'll just show you the packet. Like this one's a blow-in bulb, but I use these are about £15-20. I think it was a 22 actually. I'll get the packet up the right way. This is what I use. and it's a 2-foot ReptiGlow, I believe it is ReptiGlow bulb, and that lets off the UVB spectrum, the light spectrum. Now I do need to get some more because I've actually run out of dollar. So anyway, I just wanted to get it off my chest. I know when someone criticises my birds or my flat and say, you know, but they're not being looked after and they're concerned for my birds, so I can assure you, I would quite willingly allow the RSPCA to come in here, look at my pets, and if they can find one fault wrong with them, I would agree you can take the birds away. But I don't think they're going to find anything wrong. I don't believe that they would. I think they'd be quite satisfied. I have had quite a few professionals come in here who rarely buy birds because they're looking for that something special. They've come out and they've seen mine and they've actually bought them. They bought some of them. So I could use that money to go and buy extra food to keep the birds going through the year. And they said it's very rare that they buy birds, but it's only when they see birds that are top quality that they'll buy them. Now, like I said, the only birds that I've got here mostly are old birds now. So I have got a few youngsters. Some of these are rescue birds that other people didn't want. So I said I would take them, look after them, and give them a life. I mean, if I had to get rid of them, the chances are the only thing that's going to happen is that they will go to other people who's all got council flats and stuff. So rather than one person having a few birds, you'll end up with about 10, 15 people keeping birds. And of course, by then they're just going to breed them and probably not look after them as well. Then you end up with all these flats with different birds and stuff, whereas it could have just been one. I mean, that's the alternative, really. But I would just give them away if that was the case. But they would have to go to someone who I would trust. Anyway, I didn't want to drag this video out because it cuts out after about half an hour anyway. So if you've got any questions about it, just feel free to leave it in the comments. I'll say if you do get a landlord come out or something and they do tell you you're not allowed to keep them, you got to respect. You do have to respect their wishes, you know, but it has to be fair. They can't just say, no, you can't have them, we don't want them. That's not fair. There has to be a fair, everything about keeping pets is got to be fair. It's got to be fair for the birds, fair for you, and fair for the landlord. It has to be fair by law. That's the rules. So if they can't give you a fair reason, then they haven't got a leg to stand on. If you can't give them a fair reason, then you don't have a leg to stand on. So, you know, I just find to be diplomatic, you know, reasonable. I mean, most of the time they're pretty good anyway. I mean, I've never really known anybody. I mean, half of the population have got pets anyway, and most of them are in council flats because it's so small. They've got nothing else to do, and it's like, you know, they need that companionship. And by law, you're entitled to have an animal companionship anyway. That's the research I've been doing. So I'm going to end this video. But I say, just before I do, make sure you check first your tenant agreement, because anything that you do, you know, like don't attach them to the building and stuff like that, hanging them on the walls and, you know, reconstructing the house to make bird rooms, and don't do stuff like that. If you're going to do that, get permission first. Just check with the landlord, you know, the homeowner, the original homeowner, and make sure that they agree to it. And they'll probably want to see plans. They want to come out and inspect anyway. But I don't think you need to go that far. I mean, aviaries like this are normally generally quite acceptable. So they've got plenty of room to fly. It's not overpowering. It's not too much. And they can, as you can see, looking after your animals is number one top priority, and obviously looking after the property that you're living in is a top priority. So it's just common sense. Just common sense. That's all it is. So yeah. Right, I'm going to end this video here anyway, or else it'll just be waffle. I'll say, if you want to post anything, any comments, you know, feel free to do so. And if your landlord does decide not to let you have one, don't just respect it. You know, I know it's hard, but sometimes you can reason with them, and you may come to some kind of deal or arrangement or something. I don't know, maybe not, but like I say, they've got to give you a good reason anyway. So I'm going to end this video here, and I'll hopefully post another one soon. And I don't know, before I do nip off quickly, let's say the housing officer hasn't come out yet. He's due to come out tomorrow. So I don't know what he's going to say. and I doubt very much he'll be watching videos online on YouTube, so he will probably never see this video anyway. But if he did, well, he won't anyway, so it's not a big deal. So yeah, I'll probably post another video later and let you know what he says. So I will catch you later. See you for now.